YouTube, Chris here, the Country Cottage Gardener. Welcome back to another video. Absolutely gorgeous day today, and I am going to a brand new regular customer. I'm really excited about it. I've been to them a couple of times now, and I wanted to kind of settle my feet as it is, get to know the garden a little bit, get to know the clientele.
Turn left to stay on Finn Farm Road.
And just generally, you know, get a feel for the beds. Now this garden is quite extensive. It's gorgeous. It's very much my style. It's a very botanical garden, and I'm really excited to get my teeth and my fingers stuck into it, to be honest. So anyway, I've got a little bit of a drive. It's about 25 minutes. I'm still using the sat-nav because I've got no pigeon instinct, if I'm honest. I get lost quite easily, so I use the sat-nav for a lot of the time. But anyway, I've got a gorgeous drive. I'm going to share some of that route with you this morning, and I'll catch up on the job. Hope you enjoy. All right, my little seedlings, I hope you enjoyed that little ride in. It's gorgeous. Did anyone spot the blimp? That was a bit special, wasn't it? Anyway, there's so much, and I just want to show you it all, but I'm going to break this garden down into bits over several videos and not spoil it all in one go. But I've got a whole host of jobs to do today. Let's go around and look at a couple of borders, and we're going to chat about what I've already done and what we're going to be doing to keep this place looking stunning, as gorgeous as it is. Not that I could do much improving on this. The work and effort that they've put in here over the last 40 odd years is gorgeous. One thing I would say about this garden is with everything here they've planted, everything they've installed here apart from the old buildings. So we've got a whole host of stuff here. We've got an old mill, we've got an old oast, we've got an old swelling pond for cartwheels, and oh, it's just stunning, gorgeous. But anyway, let's go on and do some work. I'm going to continue where I left off last week here, and that's re-establishing border edges. These haven't been done for a while now. The arrangement with the grass is it gets cut every 2 weeks, and generally the gentleman of the house likes to do the grass, which is fine by me because I might rather be doing border work. But the edges I've spent all week. I'm here a day a week. I spent all last week's visit literally cutting in new edges, and I've got 3/4 of them done, so I'm going to spend a bit of time doing those this morning. Just going to show you across a couple of the borders and show you how I cut my edges in. Right, okay. Just working my way through the borders here. Carrying my trug around with me with all my essentials. And the secateurs always stay on the hip. I'm going to show you this Montbretia here. Put my gloves back on for this bit. I'm going to show you a little quick tips that I do with this little garden. It's kind of a fork tiller type, claw type thing. Now these are normally used for roughing up the gardens and whatever, you know, the soil and tilling it over slightly. Not very expensive. I think I paid about £3 for this, but I use this as kind of a hairbrush, getting in and amongst. You can also do this with geraniums when they're finished, or things like Acamachilla mollis, you know, all these sort of trailing plants with a tough root ball. You can gather it all up in one go. Get it in and amongst, it kind of pulls out the dead but leaves the green. Separates it. Wow, okay, I've just had to take my top off, I'm getting warm. We're about 10 o'clock-ish. So I've worked my way through the borders, come through this one, I've cut the edges in, I've gone round and cut them, I've weeded back into the border, worked my way through all of the obvious weeds, and then, you know, sort of gone through and done some fine fingertip weedings. But the reality is with these beds, when they're so extensive and you've got so much going on, you're not going to get every single micro weed out. It's a not selective weeding. If it's there you can get it then, but you have to be realistic that it's extensive, you're not going to get everything, so you're better off going for the obvious ones, clearing those out, clearing around the bottom of the plants, and then working your way that way. All about prioritizing. So just as I've been coming down the steps here, this ilex, this variegated holly here, I think it's called Golden King, something like that. We're a little bit early for pruning it back. Normally I'd do it in summer, but we're starting to encroach on these steps. It's going into the borders, and because the borders are going to get a lot more full, I've decided just to give it a prune back now, give it a little bit of a shape. So let's give that a go. I'm going to be using my Echo DHC 200. It's a 50 volt battery unit. Absolutely love it. I've talked about this previously, and I've said that I'm not going to actually go back to petrol tools for trimming things like buxus and everything. I'm going to show you one of the reasons why. Why would you want to use petrol in a garden like this? Yeah, the only thing that's disturbed me so far is the horse farting up in the top field. Gorgeous. Anyway, let's get on. bought myself a coffee earlier on and I forgot to drink it. So I had the hedge trimmer in my hand. Just getting the Contoniaster prune back early spring. Give that a little cut back. I love plants creeping out of borders, going over rockery, on the stairs and everything there. It's absolutely so lovely. But I'm giving it a sympathetic trim up. It's the right time to be doing it for that sort of thing. I'm going to go around with a blower at the end of the day and just tidy up, you know, the loose leaves and everything. And I've got a really bad habit that I've never been able to kick. I am better at it, but I'm a bit naughty really. When I'm working the borders, I'll make piles on the grass as I go through. So when I'm in borders, I'll make a pile within the border and then I'll bring it out. Really, I should put it straight into a bucket or a bag or straight into the wheelbarrow, but I make these buckets, these little areas as I go along, and then I go back and tidy them up afterwards. But of course that brings a bit of soil, a bit of rock or whatever, and also leaves little tiny bits of grass or weeds or whatever on a lawn. But I don't know, it's just a habit that I've always got into that I really should break. Giving that a nice prune up. I've undercut as well, went in where there was a saw and the secateurs and just cut a few bits back. There's a Contoniaster I've done up there. Underneath here was some more of that Crocrosmia, so I've just tidied up that. I'd say with Crocrosmia, if you can leave it over winter, I know it looks a bit untidy, but it is a haven for all the bugs and the beasties. Now while I'm just sat here, I'm already thinking about winter jobs and such. Not that I think I'm going to struggle for work here at all, because there's so much to do. But I'm just looking at these bricks, which have failed over the years. Now it might not be it for everybody, this sort of thing, but if you follow the channel you'll know that I do like to keep my hands in on DIY, and I'm quite capable of doing landscaping works. So this is going to be one of the areas that I'm going to look at if I get time over winter, re-cementing these back in. Not too bad over that side, but over there just lets it down slightly. Got more than enough flint for me to do a nice border along the bottom. You can see here all this natural flint. It'll keep in with that wall as well. Got a gorgeous Clematis spontana there. Stunning. Right, I'm going to finish my cold coffee and move around to this next border. Gorgeous cabbage white butterfly there going around on top of the euphorbia. You've probably just seen I had to take a euphorbia out. It was completely brown bread. I mean, euphorbia, also known as African milkbush, doesn't really have a lot of roots to it, so they're quite easy to pull out at the best of times, but this one is completely gone. Shame, but it's not like we haven't got more in the garden. This was a oast house here. It blew down in 1987. It led through to one of the barns and then through to the pigsty. Down there is a whole pond, and at the top was a mill, and they used to drive the carts, the old wooden wheeled carts, down into the pond to swell the wheels. Must be a fascinating place. bear in mind they've been here for 40 years and there was nothing here. All these gardens they've planted. It's quite a privilege to be the first gardener that they've let into these gardens to work here. Anyway, I'm going to tidy up along here. It's midday, so I'm going to have something to eat. Just going back from my lunch, as I'm walking back down through the other part of the garden, this is the bit where I was actually just pruning up the ilex behind me. I've noticed that this box honeysuckle could do with a prune, and there's also a euonymus over there as well, so I'm just going to give them a quick nip up. Okay, so I've given this a lighter prune than I generally would because we are coming into flower with this soon. So I just wanted to take off that thick growth through there. Cistus is looking gorgeous. That's going to pop any minute. Look at that, so delicate. I just want to chat about the Solomon seal over here because this is going to probably be the nicest we're going to see it for a while, because it's not going to be long before the sawfly gets on it. And if you don't know what the Solomon seal, the sawfly does, is it basically makes a little slit in and amongst the hollow stems here, and it lays its eggs, and then they will turn into larvae. You would think that they look like caterpillars, but they're actually larvae, and they will decimate this absolutely, munch it back to nothing. Yeah, they spring back. This spreads quite prolifically throughout the garden. This is the main patch that I've noticed so far through here, but it's probably best to enjoy it now, because there's no doubt might be next week, might be the week after, but there we are. Look, just starting to open up there, the flowers. Gorgeous. So yeah, the sawfly will get in there, cut a little slit. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there's one now. There's another one just flying around back down there as well. So it's already begun. The horror has already begun. Hopefully I'll be able to get some video footage of the larvae. They look like caterpillars, but they are larvae. Anyway, let's continue through this bed. Just moving myself around to another part of the garden because I'm conscious that I'm getting distracted cutting back and everything and removing the growth that should have been done throughout the winter months. I've still not done all the edges, so I'm just going to move into this small garden here, which is a bit more of a jumble, but the edges are really neglected in here. Plus I've got a couple of hydrangeas. We've got this standard macrophylla here, and then we've got this oak leafed hydrangea there, And it looks like the leaves on there are the flowers on there are the triangular ones, so that's probably an oak leaf paniculata. So it'd be nice to get those pruned up. There's a few other bits in here. There's absolutely loads of euphorbia in here, loads of it. There's also a few bits of like the laurel here. I've got a feeling that's probably going to be from an old stump, because that shouldn't really be at the front there, especially around all these heliobores. Can't see an old stump there, but it feels like it's been cut back before. Yeah, gorgeous. Anyway, I think I'm gonna deadhead the hydrangea first. Get away from the hostas. Right, so today has been pretty successful, to be honest. I've done quite a lot actually. Let's swing the camera around and I'll just chat about what I've done. So this area I massively tidied up. A lot of this Aquaticula mollis, cleaned up a lot of the old growth in here. Again, same with the geraniums. Cut around this all here, made it into a bit of a hedgerow, etc. Loads of stingers all come out. There's a real old pickle all through there. Still a lot of micro weeding to do. Things like the astilbe there, deadheaded that, took out the old growth for a lot of the geraniums. Established some edging. Actually put some edging in. Same all through here. Cut back the hydrangeas. Actually created all through here. The main enemy in this part of the garden, creeping buttercup and fescue grass, really. Yeah. Anyway, let's go unload this, load up the ladder. It's gorgeous here. There's so much. I just look around, there's so much to do. Anyway, I'll be back here next week. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed filming it. If you can't tell, I'm just elated to be at this property. It's gorgeous. There's so much here, and I'm really looking forward to taking you along for the trip as well. So I haven't said it already, but if you haven't and this is the first time viewing the channel, go on, give us a subscribe. It's going to be a lot more of this to come. Anyway, thanks very much for your time. I appreciate it.